What's up, guys? Welcome back to Talkin Hawkins, our Stranger Things in review. My name is Kyle, your host, guys. Welcome to Project Potter. Welcome to the penultimate episode. And yes, every time there is a penultimate episode, I like to say penultimate episode because I think it's a fun word. But yeah, guys, the second to last episode, season 3 of Stranger Things. If you haven't seen the series before, guys, I go through my thoughts on the episode. My favorite character, which is our Hawkins hero, least favorite character, which is our mouth breather, and then a score out of 10. And let's go. Okay, guys, so my boy Alexei behind me here suffers a very sad, unfortunate death here by the Russian Terminator, the Arnold Schwarzenegger knockoff that comes over and shoots him, and he happens to shoot him right at the time of the balloon pop, and he's got the group on the run here. I don't want to go plot for plot here, guys, but I will say this was a better episode than I'd say a lot of the stuff we've seen so far, although I still have some issues with it. Other things I liked, guys, obviously we get Steve and Robin, they have a really nice scene together where they go and they see Back to the Future. They're like on the truth serum or the drugs or whatever. Robin's like, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that mom was trying to bang her son. And he's like, what? No. He's like, they're in the future. And she's like, no, they're back in the past. And he's like, why is it called Back to the Future? And then she explains it. And Steve is like, what? But they like look up at the sky at the mall and they're like, wow, it's so pretty. And they're spinning, and then they go and they throw up in the toilet. And then they have a really nice heart to heart where Steve is in one stall and Robin's in the other. Robin's like, have you ever been in love? And he's like, yeah, Nancy Wheeler, a senior year. He's like, that didn't work out. And Robin's like, oh, what a priss. And he's like, no, not really. And then he's like, you know what? I just decided that I found someone that's better than her and someone who's a better match for me. And he goes on this big, long spiel, and Robin is like kind of smiling in the other stall. And it's a really cute scene. And he slides under, and she's like, the floor is gross. And he's like, you know what, dude? I have like blood on me. He's like, we're past gross. But he's like, so what do you think? He's like, you think this guy is pretty good? Robin is like, you don't even know this girl. And if you knew this girl, you would know that she had a crush on Tammy, and Tammy wouldn't stop looking at you because of your hair, even though you were an asshole. And then she's like, I just want her to look at me. And Steve goes, she's a girl. And I'm like, oh, what? We could have cut that. We could have cut that line, dude. She's like, yeah. Like, I'm a lesbian, dude. That's a really nice scene. The second gay character that we've had in the show, which is nice. I like how there's some diversity in there. It's different from the classic, like, oh, Jock falls for Robin. And, like, they set that up so that Robin would be like, oh, my hero. And it's like, oh, know what, dude? No, she's not into Steven. They're better off as friends. And it's just a nice little mix there. Elle saving them at the end, obviously, when she throws the car. Was neat. The whole opening sequence, guys, in the cabin or whatever, where the mind flayer's coming after them. Because remember, guys, all the people gooped into it. That was really cool. But again, I have some issues with this because even though the kids are helping a little bit here, like Lucas is swinging that, and then Nancy's got the shotgun, and then Jonathan's trying to help out too. He gets wrecked and thrown into like a dresser or whatever. It's better, but Elle is still doing the heavy lifting here, and like the tentacles come in, and Elle like stops one, and then she stops another one, and they're like, oh shit, and then she gets picked up and she, like her leg gets bitten, and then that's when they have to go to like the grocery store or a convenience store, and then Elle's like in front of the Eggos and all that stuff, guys. But you get a cute scene with Mike and Elle, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. He's like, I was really selfish and I was trying to keep you to myself. When like he's like, I like that you're with Max. And it's really cute because Elle is like, oh, it's okay, Mike, like it's all good, man. I know you're just caring. And you get a funny scene where they're Hopper, Joyce, Alexei, and Murray are in the car. And Murray is like, he's like, okay. He's like, this babbling children has gone on long enough. And he's like, he analyzes Hopper and he analyzes Joyce. And he's like, you guys just need to either stop the bickering or just hurry up and screw or whatever. And he's like, enough of this. And I wish he would have said something like, I already dealt with your son, Joyce. Like, I think he knows that that's Joyce Byers. And that was funny, but it's really funny that Murray turns into like this love guru, basically, where like we've had 2 instances now where Hopper and Joyce are interested, but they don't want to act on it. And then Jonathan and Nancy, the same thing. And Murray just like brings them together and he's like, they're just bang already. It's too bad that we get Alexei's death here. I didn't love the Russian Terminator going through, and like at one point he's just walking with a gun, like not even concealed, he's just kind of holding it, and someone would have been like, dude, that guy has a gun. Like it was weird because he stood out. And there's a fun scene where Hopper goes through the like the house and stuff with the mirrors and go through the obstacle courses, and that was fun. But then they go on the run there. But yeah, I said I was going to go plot for plot, guys, but just off the top of my head, those are some of the things that I thought stood out. Okay, guys, my Hawkins hero for this one, it's R.I.P. Alexei, dude, or Smirnoff, as Hopper calls him. I do like how Hopper calls him Smirnoff the whole time as a joke, and then when they get in the car at the end, when they realize shit is real, and he's like, Alexei? And he's like, oh, it's too sad. It's too bad because, like, Hopper's been, like, dunking on him, but it's like he calls him his real name because he's, like, terrified and afraid. And they're like, no, Alexei didn't make it. And it's just sad because it's right after he wins the big Woody Woodpecker. And, he's like, it's not rigged. See, and he's so happy. And it's just like, man, Alexei was really charming. And Alexei, even though we didn't have you for that many episodes, man, you turned out to be a delight. And I think he really added to the show, but I think he was just the most fun. I think he added to the plot there. He kind of gives the other characters their, like, factors for revenge, or it's probably going to ramp up now. And so I thought that was really fun. And Alexei, man, you'll be missed. Okay, guys, my mouth breather for this one, I'm going to go with the Russian Terminator again, man. Him showing up, it just felt so like, oh, okay, this guy's back. It's like we haven't seen him since the house, and obviously he's still out there, but it was just weird. We do get a fun scene I didn't mention where Hopper goes into, like, that twirly ride or whatever, and he's like, hold the ride, and she's like, never, calls him Magnum or something, and she starts the ride, and they, like, go against the thing, and then that's when him and Joyce are running through, and the Wheelers are like, odd couple, huh? And then Ted, I think his name is Ted, Mr. Wheeler goes, well, there's someone for everyone, you know what they say. And it's funny because he's afraid of all the rides. But yeah, I just thought Russian Terminator guy, Grigory, I think his name is. I just, he's there with the other henchmen, but it just felt like he showed up and he was, like, walking slow and he's looking like the Terminator. And it's like, but he's not the Terminator. And it's like, I would have liked a cool reference like we had before, but for him to show back up, I'm like, oh, okay, you just, like, are at the fair. You just know they're here. And just the way he found Alexei through all those people, it just kind of was too convenient for me. And I thought he was the worst one in this one. Okay, guys, that brings us to the score. This is an 8.9 for me. I thought the action was really good. I thought there were some nice emotional moments, but the problem with this is that I thought this was one of the better episodes, but I still can't really put it super high because it's just like the story is still messy and it's still like, okay, like the bite on Elle's leg is really interesting because she's screaming bloody murder. And it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to amputate Elle's leg? Like, how are they going to deal with that? I do really like the scene at the end. I didn't mention, guys, where the groups come together and they're like, oh my God, like this is what happened. And they're like, oh, we were looking for the Russians. And he's like, what Russians? And they're like, the Russians. They're like, those are the Russians? And he's like, yeah, the battery was dead. I tried telling you. And he's like, what did I tell you about the batteries? And they're like, who are you? And they're like, I'm Robin. And it's like, who are you? And who's 11? And it's really fun, like a quick back and forth between the whole group, guys. And the action, like I said, was cool. But I mean, Elle, like, really messes up that the mind flare where she, like, rips it in half and stuff, and then it's still just like walking around, and it's not like terrorizing the fair though, so it's weird because they have a big fight against it and then it just kind of like is gone for the rest of the episode. So even though there's some things I really, really like in this episode, there's still just pieces that are missing, and it just feels like a little half-baked. And so I like the episode, guys. It was beautiful. I mean, watching it in 4K on a projector, huge screen, like the colors really popped. I love the style. But I'm just, again, everything just feels a little off this season. And so although I'm giving it a pretty decent score, it is missing that magic of season one. And I don't think we've really gotten back to that since. All right, guys. Well, that's another episode of Talkin Hawkins. Just the season 3 finale is left now, guys. And then, of course, we have the new season coming up. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe. These drop every Sunday, guys. And we're out for our boy Alexei. And until next time, guys, peace.